Welcome to the TV Street Detective Channel. Here we update cases that shock the world. The mysterious death of a 3-year-old girl and her mysterious disappearance. The hotline of the Orion City Police Department, Orange County, California, USA, received a call from Caylee Anthony informing her, "I have a grandchild who has been missing for a month." Cindy's granddaughter, Caylee Anthony, had just celebrated her 3rd birthday. Hearing this information, the operator was surprised and asked Cindy why she did not report it earlier and let so much time pass. At this time, Cindy was angry and said, "My daughter stole my money and car, took my granddaughter away. I thought she could take care of her child, but when she came back, I couldn't find my granddaughter anywhere." Cindy and her husband repeatedly called their daughter, Caylee Anthony, to ask about her granddaughter, but sometimes Caylee did not answer the phone. Sometimes she said she had left her child with a babysitter. Cindy also shared her concerns. She received a notice that the car her daughter had stolen from her parents had been found abandoned on the side of the road and towed to a parking lot. However, when she arrived to pick up the car, she and her husband noticed a foul odor in the trunk, similar to the smell of a rotting animal. When they opened the trunk, they found nothing but a trash bag. "Something was wrong," Cindy said. "When my daughter had been driving the car, my husband and I both noticed a smell like a decomposing body." The girl's death. After receiving the report, police immediately began questioning Caylee Anthony. At that time, she said she did not call the police because she wanted to search for her daughter herself, because she feared that calling the police would endanger her life. Caylee said her daughter was still at home with her babysitter, Zenarda Fernandez-Gonzalez, on South Conway Street. However, according to Caylee's testimony, after Kelly fell asleep, Zenarda went out to buy something, but when she returned, she was gone. While the police were verifying the testimony, a resident passing by near the dense forest in Steve Benwright discovered the remains of a human skeleton, which was identified as belonging to a child. The skull had traces of tape and a part of the bone was found inside a nearby bag. Based on a comparison of the hair sample with the traces found, as well as the match between the age and measurements of the remains, forensic doctors confirmed that the skeleton was the missing Caylee Anthony. Unpredictable testimony. The fact that a young mother did not report her daughter missing for a month, and the testimony that was difficult to distinguish between truth and falsehood has caused public confusion. Caylee Anthony said that she did not notify the police because she wanted to try to find her daughter herself, because she was afraid that if the police knew, it would endanger her life. During the search for her child, Caylee also contacted Jeff Hopkin and Juliette Lewis for help. However, when Detective Jerry Meeg, who was assigned to investigate the 3-year-old girl's kidnapping, visited the babysitter Zenarda Fernandez-Gonzalez that Caylee mentioned, Zenarda claimed that she did not know Kelly and had only recently moved here. The promiscuous mother, according to information from people who knew Caylee, including her parents. Caylee was known for her debauchery, partying, drinking, smoking, and stealing money from her family and even her friends. Caylee often lied about her education, her job, and even about her pregnancy with Kelly and the father of the child. Caylee had relationships with multiple men at the same time and lied that Kelly was born after she was raped at a festival at her previous workplace, but was too drunk to remember who the father was. She later confirmed that her boyfriend Jesse Grande was Kelly's father, but the DNA test results did not match. The police investigation also showed that even when her daughter was missing, Caylee continued to lie to her family and relatives. Friends and police asked about her daughter's whereabouts, and instead of being heartbroken like other mothers of missing children, Caylee lived a carefree and happy life. She went out with her lover, called nightclubs her home, traveled frequently, shopped, and even had a tattoo on her body that read Bella Vita, which means life is beautiful. Caylee's lover, Anthony Lazarda, also said that Caylee had come to stay with him when her daughter went missing, but Caylee did not mention it or show any concern. Detectives arrested Caylee Anthony on charges of child neglect, obstructing an investigation, and suspicion of murder. Evidence in the trunk. At the first trial in Orlando, Florida, even Caylee Anthony's defense attorney, Jose Baez, exclaimed, "How in the world can a mother be carefree, have fun for a whole month without thinking about her missing child? It's really strange." During the investigation, the police discovered hair samples and stains in the trunk of Caylee's car. Although the results showed that it was the victim's blood, these details were not enough to convict. After that, the girlfriend. The jury conducted an air test in the trunk of the car to determine whether the car had once contained a decomposing body. The results, sent to the University of Tennessee's Institute of Anthropology, showed that there had indeed been a body in the trunk. Additionally, an anesthetic was found in Caylee's trunk, and there was evidence that Caylee had searched the internet for instructions on how to use the anesthetic. Police also found tapes of Caylee attending parties and nightclubs around the time Kelly first went missing. Many believe that Kelly had actually died in the trunk of Caylee's car. Some theorize that while partying, Caylee left baby Kelly in the trunk all day and that she died from the heat of the sun. Others believe that the mother murdered her child. Whatever the theory, one thing is certain. Caylee knew very well and was involved in her daughter's death. The trial of the century, nearly 3 years since Kelly went missing and her body was discovered, the public has been watching the investigation closely, eager to know what happened. Millions of people have watched the case on television, with crowds gathering outside the courtroom every day, with signs demanding the conviction of evil mother, Caylee Anthony. The defendants' parents, Cindy and George, were brought to court and sobbed as prosecutors showed footage of Kelly's previous birthday. "It was a special moment for the three of us," Cindy said. "I remember it like it was yesterday afternoon." Caylee, meanwhile, has been stoic, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying. But the questions surrounding Kelly's disappearance remain unanswered. No one knows exactly when or where she died, or why. As prosecutors allege, she was murdered. The party photos may prove that Caylee was out having fun, but they do not prove that she intended to kill her child. Even Caylee's lies or silence during the month her child was missing are not evidence of guilt. Prosecutors say they are trying to charge Caylee with first-degree murder. All national television channels are currently broadcasting live and commentary. Some are even broadcasting and commenting all day. People attending the trial have to stay up all night to get tickets to the courtroom, and some even fight over seats. The press is calling this the trial of the century. The most anticipated question is whether Caylee Anthony will face the death penalty. Some lawyers say the case has no real witnesses, the evidence is circumstantial, and the motive for the murder is unclear. Therefore, the suspect will be acquitted or given a light sentence. The case lacks evidence. The case has attracted a large audience. However, beyond the logical arguments, prosecutors have failed to prove that Caylee Anthony killed her daughter. Although the medical examiner ruled the 3-year-old's death a homicide, they do not know exactly how she was killed. The duct tape found on the victim's skull did not contain DNA from either Kelly or Caylee. Caylee's defense attorney, Richard Jose Baez, argued that the prosecution failed to convince the jury that Caylee Anthony killed her child. He also pointed out that the prosecution failed to explain when and where the child died. Speculation does not help convict someone. Caylee Anthony's motive for killing his child was also not conclusive. The jury found that the defendant killed his child because he wanted to live a comfortable life. I'm not saying she's innocent. I'm just saying there's not enough evidence to convict her. In fact, there's not a single piece of evidence, from fingerprints to DNA, that would identify the perpetrator, said the jury's representative. Public outrage. The jury unanimously came to a stunning final verdict, finding suspect Caylee Anthony innocent of her daughter's death. She was charged only with lying to authorities, negligence in allowing the murder to occur, and failure to report it in time. Upon hearing the court's verdict, the suspect burst into tears and hugged her lawyers. Meanwhile, Caylee's parents, who were also the victim's grandparents, immediately stood up and quietly left. The plaintiff's lawyers were silent, while everyone watching live in court and on television was stunned outside the courtroom in Olympia, Florida. a packed crowd stood, protesting the verdict by shouting, "Justice for Caylee." The American press has been constantly reporting on Casey's sentence on the front pages. However, the sentence has been carried out. Is Caylee Anthony really innocent? Perhaps only this mother knows. However, to this day, the Olympia court's verdict still leaves unanswerable questions. I replied, unanswered questions, from the time her child went missing until the police discovered her body. How could this mother still be partying happily with friends at nightclubs? How did the 3-year-old victim really die right after losing her child? These questions will probably never be answered. Sincerely thank the audience for watching. Please press the bell and subscribe to update the latest videos. Like and share to share with more people. Comment your thoughts, comments, or suggest contributions so we can improve. Reference and summary source: Street Detective TV. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to explore shocking true crime stories, unsolved mysteries, and secrets yet to be uncovered. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new videos. Your support means everything to us and helps us continue bringing exciting, high-quality content. Thank you for joining us on this journey.